The first ray of morning sunlight pierced through the glass walls of the skyscrapers in New York, streaming into the investment bank's data center. Emma stood in front of the massive data display screen, her golden hair bathed in a soft halo of morning light. She focused intently on Reynolds Group's latest data stream, her brow gradually furrowing. For 3 months, she had been tracking every detail of this project, familiar with every data fluctuation, but today's market prediction model showed unusual volatility trends. Data analyst Tom hurriedly walked into the room, carrying a stack of freshly printed reports. Emma, the latest market research report is out, showing major shifts in Reynolds Group's target user group preferences. These data significantly differ from our previous predictions. Emma took the report, her slender fingers quickly flipping through the pages. Every data point, every trend line from the past 3 months was deeply etched in her mind. As Harvard Business School's most outstanding graduate, she had an almost obsessive sensitivity to data. Now, she clearly felt that something in this report was triggering her instincts. The sunlight gradually climbed higher up the buildings, reflecting the busy scenes of New York's financial district in the data center's glass walls. Emma put down the report and walked to the window. The crowd in business suits bustled below, each pursuing their own dreams of wealth. She knew that beneath this glossy surface often lay deeper undercurrents. In the analyst meeting room, the air seemed frozen. Olivia stood in front of the projection screen, her auburn hair falling perfectly on her shoulders, her business suit outlining an elegant silhouette. With a confident smile on her face, she was presenting the latest market analysis report to the attendees.
Good morning, everyone. Through our team's joint research with top global consulting firms, we've reached an important conclusion: Reynolds Group needs to completely change their current product positioning.
Her voice was crisp and persuasive. On the projection screen, elegant charts and data continuously switched, displaying seemingly flawless analysis chains. Emma sat in the corner of the meeting room, outwardly calmly reviewing the documents in front of her, while her keen eyes captured every detail. As a financial analyst, she knew that deeper stories often lurked behind the data. Now, her professional intuition was telling her that in this carefully prepared report by Olivia, there were some deliberately concealed loopholes. After the meeting, Emma immediately returned to her office. She pulled up all the data from the past 3 months and established complex analysis models on her computer. Sunlight through the Venetian blinds cast dappled shadows on her desk, while her gaze never left the screen. Finally, after comparing countless sets of data, Emma discovered the key. Olivia's team had cleverly altered the weights of several critical parameters in the data model, creating a seemingly reasonable market shift conclusion through technical adjustments. This approach was highly professional. Without a deep understanding of financial models, it would be difficult to spot this loophole. Just then, Emma's phone suddenly vibrated. She swiped the screen to find an anonymous email. The email contained the original data from that top consulting firm, and the sender left only one message: someone who cares about the truth. This data confirmed her suspicions while also raising more questions. The sunlight gradually slanted westward, casting a golden-red glow on New York's skyline. Emma sat on a bench in the luxurious rooftop garden, all her collected evidence spread out before her. The breeze lifted her golden hair, bringing a touch of coolness. Just then, a familiar voice sounded behind her.
Do you know why Olivia chose this consulting firm?
Jack's voice carried a hint of an enigmatic smile. He wore an exquisitely tailored dark suit, standing in the sunset's rays, his outline particularly distinct. Emma looked up, green eyes sparkling with intelligence.
Because they just completed a business model with major flaws?
Her voice carried a hint of sarcasm. Jack's lips curled into a mysterious smile.
Because next month, Reynolds Group will acquire this consulting firm, and Olivia has quietly bought a large amount of stock.
He sat down beside Emma, a corner of his suit tinged golden by the sunset. This news exploded like a bombshell in Emma's mind. All the clues suddenly connected. The abnormal data model, the deliberate market orientation, the mysterious consulting firm. Everything pointed to a carefully planned conspiracy. In the evening, the Reynolds Group conference center was brightly lit. Marcus Reynolds and the board members were seated, all titans of Wall Street whose decisions could influence the flow of billions in capital. Olivia stood at the podium, her auburn hair gleaming under the spotlights. Her presentation was passionate, her voice filled with unquestionable confidence.
According to our in-depth research with top consulting firms, the market has reached a critical turning point. If we don't adjust our strategic direction in time, we might miss the most important development opportunities in the next 5 years.
Data flashed across the projection screen, each chart carefully designed to perfectly support her points. Board members nodded occasionally, clearly convinced by her analysis. Just then, a clear voice came from the back of the conference room.
What if I tell you this market prediction model has fundamental flaws?
Emma stood up from her seat, her golden hair gleaming under the lights. Her voice wasn't loud, but it silenced the entire conference room. Marcus Reynolds cast his sharp gaze toward Emma. Having navigated Wall Street for decades, his instincts told him something interesting was about to happen. Please continue. I'm very interested. He gestured for Emma to come to the front. The atmosphere in the boardroom instantly became tense. Emma stood in front of the projection screen, her figure shrouded by the data shadows on the screen. But at this moment, she seemed to be in control of the entire situation.
This model appears perfect, but actually contains multiple fatal flaws.
Emma pulled up her analysis data.
First, it deliberately ignores seasonal fluctuation factors, which is an unforgivable error in retail market analysis. Second, the interpretation of user behavior data completely violates basic statistical principles.
Her voice grew stronger, her fingers quickly clicking on the screen, dismantling Olivia's carefully constructed data castle piece by piece. Each argument powerfully hit the mark, each point making the professionals in attendance think seriously.
But the most serious problem is,
Emma turned to face the room full of financial elites.
certain people are using this flawed model to conduct improper operations in the capital market. They are manipulating market expectations to seek personal gain.
As soon as the words fell, Jack stood up from the corner of the conference room. His voice was steady and powerful.
Marcus, I think you might be interested in some news. Next month's planned consulting firm acquisition is actually a carefully designed capital game by certain individuals.
Marcus Reynolds' expression became extremely grave. As an entrepreneur who had weathered many financial storms, he understood too well what this meant. The air in the conference room seemed to freeze, with all eyes focused on him. Olivia's face instantly turned pale. Her fingers unconsciously gripped the folder in front of her, her knuckles turning white from the force. Her carefully designed plan collapsed like a house of cards in front of Emma's professional analysis. Olivia lowered her head and quickly left the office, her perfectly crafted image completely crumbling at this moment. The sound of her high heels striking the floor gradually disappeared down the corridor, leaving only silence in the room. Jack picked up the crystal glass from the table, the amber liquid inside refracting warm light. He walked to Emma's front, a smile of appreciation on his lips.
To the most astute financial analyst.
The crisp sound of clinking glasses echoed in the quiet office. Emma looked at the swirling liquid in her glass, seeing her own reflection. At this moment, she felt true accomplishment, not because of defeating an opponent, but because of defending professionalism and truth. At midnight, Emma sat alone by the floor-to-ceiling windows of her apartment. New York's night seemed spread out before her, countless lights twinkling like stars. Her laptop screen was still lit, displaying dense data analysis. Her phone vibrated. It was a message from Sarah.
An internal investigation team will be coming tomorrow. Are you ready to handle it?
Emma's lips curled into a confident smile. On Wall Street, truth is often more complex than imagined, but she was ready to face all challenges. Just then, a news alert suddenly popped up on her phone screen. Tech giant plotting to acquire Reynolds Group? Jack Chen's connections with mysterious Eastern Consortium surface. Emma's smile froze. She realized that this financial game might have only just begun. The city's bustle gradually subsided, but the undercurrents in the financial world continued to surge. Emma stood by the window, gazing at Manhattan's skyline in the distance. In this world full of opportunities and challenges, she had found her place. And tomorrow would be a new beginning. The next morning, As sunlight just began climbing up Manhattan skyscrapers, Emma was already seated in her office. Several detailed analysis reports lay open on her desk, each page densely filled with her annotations. Last night's news about Jack Shun still lingered in her mind, but now she had to focus on the upcoming internal investigation. The elevator dinged open, and 3 investigators in suits walked in. Their steps were steady, their expressions serious, holding thick folders. The lead middle-aged man introduced himself. "I'm Peter Thompson, in charge of this internal investigation." His voice was deep and carried authority. Emma rose calmly to meet this anticipated challenge. She knew that in the financial world, truth often needs to withstand rigorous testing before it can surface. She elegantly extended her hand.
Welcome, I have prepared all relevant documents.
The investigation continued for an entire morning. Emma explained in detail each of her analysis processes, every data source, and each inference basis. Her professionalism and rigorous attitude left a deep impression on the investigation team. Just as the investigation was about to end, Olivia suddenly appeared in the office doorway. Her face still maintained perfect makeup, but her eyes revealed a hint of panic.
I have new evidence to provide.
Her voice trembled slightly.
Regarding Reynolds Group's market prediction model.
Emma calmly looked at Olivia, knowing this was the opponent's last struggle. Peter Thompson took the documents Olivia handed over, carefully reviewing them. However, he quickly discovered the problem. These data timestamps seemed to have some issues. Just then, Jack pushed open the door and walked in. His presence changed the atmosphere of the entire room.
Thompson, I think you might be interested in this.
He produced a document.
This is the complete internal record of that consulting firm, including all data modification records.
Olivia's face instantly turned pale. Her fingers unconsciously twisted together, her lips trembling slightly. While Emma maintained professional calm, she knew that in the financial world, truth always reveals itself in the most unexpected ways. The investigation team carefully reviewed the materials Jack provided. Peter Thompson's expression became increasingly serious. These records show that the market prediction model was indeed manipulated. And he paused. This kind of operation clearly violates industry standards. Olivia could no longer maintain her elegant demeanor, her voice filled with desperation.
You don't understand, all of this was forced. Those people.
Her words were cut off by Jack before she could finish.
Those people?
Jack's voice carried a hint of sarcasm.
You mean those people manipulating the market from the shadows?
He walked to the window, looking down at the bustling Wall Street below.
They always like to exploit others' ambitions and weaknesses.
Emma stood to the side, silently observing everything. Her professional instincts told her that a bigger secret was hidden behind this storm, and that news about Jack and the Eastern Consortium seemed to be just one piece of this secret. By evening, the investigation team finally completed their work. Peter Thompson signed his name on the final report. Based on our investigation results, Emma's analysis completely meets professional standards, and the allegations about market prediction model manipulation have been confirmed. People gradually left the office, leaving only Emma and Jack. The sunset's glow streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, coating the entire space in a warm golden hue. Jack walked to Emma's side, his voice low and sincere.
You know what? In this world full of calculations, people who stick to professional ethics like you are becoming increasingly rare.
Emma turned around, looking directly into Jack's eyes.
Is that news true? About the Eastern Consortium?
Her voice was soft, but her words carried an undeniable force. Jack displayed a mysterious smile.
Everyone has their own secrets, don't they? Just like the people behind Olivia, like the undercurrents in the market. What's important isn't the secrets themselves, but how we use them.
Night fell, and New York's neon lights came on one after another. Emma stood in her office, watching the city gradually light up. The news was still displayed on her computer screen, while her phone showed a message just sent by Sarah.
Tomorrow, the board will discuss an important acquisition proposal. Are you ready?
Emma's lips curled into a confident smile. In the financial world, each day is a new challenge, and every choice could influence the future's direction. But she knew that as long as she maintained her professional judgment and pursuit of truth, she would surely stand firm in this financial game. She tidied up the documents on her desk, turned off the computer. Tomorrow would be a new day. New challenges were waiting for her. And this time, she would face them with a more mature attitude. Walking out of the office building, the night breeze gently lifted her golden hair. New York's night was brilliantly lit, as if telling countless stories. Emma took a deep breath, knowing that in this city full of opportunities and challenges, she was writing her own legend. In the distance on the skyline, the Reynolds Group logo still shone brightly. And in this city that never sleeps, countless secrets and truths were waiting to be discovered. Emma knew this was just the beginning. Bigger challenges lay ahead. But at this moment, her heart was filled with strength and anticipation. Under the night sky of New York, neon lights interweaved into a brilliant painting. Emma walked on her way home, her mind already starting to construct tomorrow's board meeting speech. In this financial world full of unknowns, she had found her own place, and this was the wealth she valued most.